Tonight I'm going to be giving you my thoughts on Knock at the Cabin, based on the book Cabin at the End of the World, a book that I have read, or I say read, book that I have listened to on Audible, I really, really enjoyed the book. I was very much looking forward to the movie. Dave Bautista being cast as the character of Leonard was really, really intriguing to me because it is a character that, while written as, a big burly or a big burly presence like Dave Bautista is not a typical role for this character for Dave Bautista to take on, because he's a very gentle giant, if you would, put in a really awkward spot. So I was really interested to see how Dave Bautista was going to do in this role, and I can say without question, he does a great job playing the character of Leonard. He is calm, and he really emotes very well the burden of having to convince the family in this movie to do what they need to do. It is, anytime that you listen to a book or you read a book and then you watch an adaptation of it, it usually falls short of the expectations from the book. And I will say that this movie certainly isn't as good as the book. I mean, I don't know that there are many movies out there that are better than the books that they're based on, but this one's certainly not as good as the book, but it is definitely good. It was good acting all around. It's creepy, some of the scenes, especially in the beginning. If you hadn't read this book and you started just how fast this movie gets into the goods, into the home invasion that happens in this story, I imagine it would be very unsettling for you. My wife was unsettled as we were watching it, but that's one thing that I think a lot of movies, specifically when they get adapted from books, struggle with, is they don't have enough time to kind of live with these characters, even though the book itself is short and the events of the book are just about the same, time frame spent. This movie could have benefited it was like an hour and a half. I think it could have. This is a movie that probably could have benefited from 2 hours, and you could have really just lived with a few of the characters a little bit longer, because a lot of the stories aren't flushed out that well with these home invaders that show up. But I think that Jonathan Groff and Ben Aldridge did a great job playing Eric and Andrew, the fathers in this story, that are put with a ridiculous task of trying to decide which of their family members they're going to kill in order to prevent the apocalypse. It's a crazy storyline for sure, and both guys do a great job playing these characters. They very much harness the essence of these characters from the books. Jonathan Groff's character kind of takes a back seat to allow Ben Aldridge's character of Andrew to kind of get a lot more of the backstory, which is kind of accurate, because I mean, even in the book, Andrew as a character has a backstory that ties in a little bit better to the events of the story, so that makes sense. The little girl, Kristen Q, I think the name is. I don't want to make sure I don't butcher that name. She did a fine job with Wen. Again, she doesn't get a lot of screen time. She doesn't get to do a lot in this movie compared to the book. And I'm sorry, I hate to be that guy. I don't want to be the guy that's like, the book did this better than the movie did this, but it sounds like that's what I'm doing now. But she didn't get enough time to shine, I think. In the book, you live with Wen. She's your main character, and I feel like she was not the main character of this movie. Her interactions with Leonard, like, they really kind of create like a bond and a friendship in the beginning, and then it gets tested as the events kind of unfurl. So I don't know. I feel like there wasn't enough time to spend with her. So I think the actress did a great job, though. I thought she it's a tough. I can't imagine being a kid actor and being put in a movie like this where you gotta like really sit with some heavy adult shit. So she did a fantastic job with that. Rupert Grint was kind of a big standout to me. I obviously love him from the Harry Potter series, but he's playing the character of Redmond, who is one of these 4 people that's invading this house to try to convince this family that they need to, off one of their family members, prevent an apocalypse. And he's got an interesting backstory, especially in the book. It's really flushed out that, like, he's had some interactions with this family before, and it's obviously the book gets spent a little bit more time there, but Rupert Grint did a really good job bringing this character to life. If you've read the book, you know that Redmond's not the most likable guy, and Rupert Grint does a pretty good job of it without, making you feel like making the character just feel like he was there just to be an asshole and then, used for the purpose he's used for. So I thought Rupert Grint did good job with what he had. But yeah, overall, guys, this movie was okay. Even though it was one of my most anticipated movies of the year, it certainly wasn't as good as I'd hoped it was going to be. That's for sure. I'm not going to say it was a bad movie. I don't think it was a bad movie. I thought it was decent. But out of the other movies I've seen this year so far, Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, Cocaine Bear, other things that were on my list, I'd say this one fell a little short of even those two. So not bad, but okay. But the question is for you guys. Knock at the Cabin is out on demand or on video on demand, wherever you guys, Amazon Prime, wherever you guys get your rentals or your purchased movies. You can check it out. If you have checked it out or you checked it out in theaters, please let me know what you thought about it. If you've read the book, did this movie fall short for you the way it kind of did for me? Whatever you thought, let me know in the comments. Click the like button, subscribe to my channel, and I'll come at you with more reviews as I come to them. Thanks.